As we learned earlier, S is for seal. It makes the S sound. But the S sound is tricky because it can be made with several different letters. S, double S, S-E, C-E, C-I, and C-Y. This video is part 1 of the S sounds. We are going to begin with the letter S. It is the most commonly used. It can be found in the beginning, middle, or end of a word, and it occurs at the end of a word when it makes a word plural. Review the chart with kids so they can see the placement of S in each word. The last two words will be different because they're going to be carried through the beginning, middle, and end to show words that can have more than one S. Okay, let's begin with the beginning. Seal, salt, sun, sock, and sister. Then the middle sound is found in music, display, thousand. There is no middle sound S in sock, so there's an arrow. And sister has both the beginning and middle S. Now we're going to go to the end, and when S is added to a word at the end, it makes it more than one. We have flowers, cats, dogs. Now we've added an S to sock, so it's socks, an S in the beginning and end of the word. And now we've added an S to sisters. So sisters has an S in the beginning, an S in the middle, and an S at the end. So now we're ready for kids to do the first activity. It is called Where Do You Hear the Sound? And this is the first template. And then the second template has all of the pictures that need to be cut out and placed on the first template.
This activity is called Where Do You Hear the Sound? And we're starting with the single S, which is the most commonly used letter to make the sound S, and it can appear in a word at the beginning, at the middle, and or at the end. So have children flip through the pictures and say each one with them so they know again exactly what the picture is. This one is seal. Ask your child, where do you hear the S sound? In the beginning, in the middle, or in the end? And then have them push up the magnetic circle for where they hear the sound. So seal is at the beginning. Push it back down. Ask them salt. Where do you hear the salt? Again, the beginning. Have them push it back down. Sun. Where do you hear the S? Have them push it up and then take it down. In this example, we'll go ahead a couple. Thousand. Where do they hear the sound? In the middle. Thousand. Okay. Where do they hear the sound in flowers? Flowers at the end. And then have them pull it down. Cats. Cats at the end. And reviewing and practicing these words and having them hear the sound will also help them later in spelling and reading the words.
Now we're going to look at the pattern double S that makes the S sound. Usually when it occurs at the end of a word, it follows a short vowel. Glass, the short vowel is A. In press, the short vowel is A. And in toss, the short vowel is A. Or it can appear in the center or middle of a word when following and followed by a vowel. Blossom, the double S follows the vowel O and is followed by O. Then we have dessert following an E and followed by an E, and then we have the word message. Now with kids, look at some examples that follow the first rule. The double S, SS, making the S sound will be at the end of the word, and before the double S, there is a short vowel. The first word is class. The second word is glass. The third word is dress. The fourth word is press. The fifth word is miss. And then the last word is toss. Now this is our template for the next activity. It is our picture short vowel slide.
This is an activity to help us work with the SS sound that comes at the end of a one-syllable word. And the important part is before the SS, there is a short vowel. Let's go through each of our words. Our pictures: class, glass, dress, press, miss, and toss. Before the SS comes at the end, there's a vowel that comes before it. And so we're going to look at this word. This is glass. I hear an ah. That is made by a short A. Let's see. Press. That is made by a short E. Let's go to one more. Toss. That is an ah, and that is made by the short O. So this helps us to remember that when the SS comes at the end of a word, it has a short vowel that comes before it.
Looking at these examples, explain to kids that the double S can happen in the middle of the word, but a vowel has to come before the double S and a vowel has to come after. So in our first example, blossom, an O is before the double S and an O is after the double S. Then we have message, then dessert, and fossil. Next, have kids circle the picture that does not belong. Remind them to listen for where they hear the S, double S sound. The first row, blossom, salt, message. The second row, dessert, blossom, cats. The third row, fossil, sun, dessert. And the last row, message, sock, blossom. And this is the completed example: salt, cats, sun, and sock. This is the SE pattern that makes the S sound, and it usually comes at the end of words, and it is considered to follow two categories: consonants, or what are called non-short vowels. This chart is a reference for parents. It shows the two categories: consonants and 5 patterns considered non-short vowels. It is not necessary for kids to know the patterns, but to have them practice them. I introduce the categories one at a time and spend a few days on each. So for the first one, following a consonant, I would have sense, cleanse, and rinse. For long vowels, nose, rose, and use. For vowel teams, please, geese, and cheese. For following long double O, I would have moose, goose, and caboose. For following diphthong OU, mouse, blouse, and house. And for following R-controlled vowels, nurse, purse, and nursery. After practicing the words for that category, kids would then make a sentence. They would have 3 words that they would have to fill in the spaces provided. So this would end with, the moose and goose rode the caboose. Other fill in the blanks would be, it makes sense to cleanse and rinse your hands. Use your nose to smell the rose. Please don't feed the cheese to the geese. The moose and goose rode the caboose. The mouse wore her blouse in the house. The nurse left her purse in the nursery. Part 2 will cover CE, CI, and CY. And please remember to subscribe if you found this helpful, and all the templates will be listed in the description section.